Okay, I'm done. How's it going, everyone? Texas Man here. I hope that you guys are all having a splendid day. If you guys would, please give this video a thumbs up. If you guys do really enjoy it, subscribe, of course, if you guys have not already. Also, do me the biggest favor of all, make sure you guys hit that bell notification button so you guys don't miss out on future videos or streams here on the channel. You guys can also find me on Twitch at Douglas447. Stream there at least once a week. You guys can also suggest movies, TV shows, and games for me to cover here on the channel. And we were talking positives and negatives, talking about Star Wars Revenge of the Sith from 2005, the epic conclusion to the prequel trilogy by George Lucas. For those of you guys who don't know, this film was supposed to be 4 hours long. And you know what? I really wish it was, and I really wish George Lucas or Disney would release a 4-hour cut. Because this film's 2 hours and 20 minutes long. And even with that, this film just, in 2.5 hours, this film accomplishes so much. And I want more. I wanted more. I'm rewatching Revenge of the Sith. I'm just like, the moment you start this film, you are just in the action. You are into the thick of it. From the Battle of Coruscant all the way to the grand finale on Tatooine. And it is just a rush of adrenaline. There is no time to breathe. Things are happening. And it is just a epic, fantastical conclusion to the prequel trilogy. And it all starts with, basically, the death of Count Dooku by the hands of Anakin Skywalker. And we get the introduction to the 4-armed cyborg General Grievous, voiced by Matthew Wood. Again, we have to talk about the fact that, and I've already discussed this in my Attack of the Clones review. If you guys haven't watched it, check it out. It's in my film reviews playlist, and of course in all things Star Wars. And I also obviously have a review of Phantom Menace as well. But in Attack of the Clones, I discussed the fact that in order to properly enjoy the prequel trilogy, especially Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, you have to watch the Clone Wars show, at least seasons 1 through 5 and 7, in order to understand what happened. Because unfortunately, Attack of the Clones, it starts off the Clone Wars. Revenge of the Sith ends it. That is it. We don't get to see, we really don't get to see much of the Clone Wars on screen. We get the first Battle of Geonosis at Attack of the Clones, and then in Revenge of the Sith, we get the Battle of Coruscant, we get the final battle on Kashyyyk, and that's it when it comes to the battle. And it's like, it is still sad, and I know I've already talked about this, but I still feel it's sad that a little lore Easter egg that was planted in our brains in A New Hope never really gets fleshed out in the films. The fact that you have to go and watch the Clone Wars show instead of having it in film format is kind of sad. Like, I would love to see a film made by Disney, and it's Star Wars, yeah, I know what I'm saying. I would love to see a Star Wars film that is set in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and it literally be titled Star Wars The Clone Wars. Yeah, we've had the Ahsoka show, we've had the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, we've had things tie in to Revenge of the Sith afterwards, including Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Sith. But I want a proper 3-hour epic film, and it can be very easy. It can just incorporate the best elements of the Clone Wars show. Just take the Clone Wars show, take the best episodes, best characters, put it into live action format. You can do it. You've done it already, basically, on Disney Plus shows. Just put it into a movie format and give us where it's following Captain Rex and Ahsoka, and, have it either have a cliffhanger, make it a 2-parter. There you go. Make it a two-parter. Have the first film end on a cliffhanger with Ahsoka Tano on the run from the Jedi at the end of season 5 of the Clone Wars show. And then have part 2 kick off with, you finding out that it's Barriss Offee, and then part 2 ends with Order 66, and we get to see Rex and Ahsoka survive that. It would be a cool thing. It definitely would put Rebel Moon by Zack Snyder to shame. Anyway, back to Revenge of the Sith. This film gives us not just the end of the Clone Wars show, but it gives us the finale of Palpatine's political infiltration of the Republic and the Senate, and it all comes together, allowing for the evil Emperor to start up the Empire and dissolve the Republic, the thing that has stood for thousands of years. We also get the start of the rebellion. We get the birth of Luke and Leia. We get Order 66, in which that kind of helps to explain why Obi-Wan and Yoda are the only two survivors of Order 66. Obviously, this film came out in 2005, and because Disney, other Jedi survived for the sake of shows and, video games, and it's lessened that impact. But still, if you only watch the movies and you don't do anything else lore-wise with Star Wars, you're still okay in the fact that, Obi-Wan and Yoda are the only two Jedi that survived Order 66. But it does make sense as to how and why when you watch Revenge of the Sith and then you watch the original trilogy. This film also gives us the rise of Anakin Skywalker becoming Darth Vader because of his anger, his lust, his greed, his manipulation by Palpatine, and his desire for ultimate power and ultimate knowledge. And, like I said, the film does all of this in under 2.5 minutes. I'm sorry, 2.5 hours. 2.5 minutes. This film does this in 2.5 hours. And I want more. Okay? Revenge of the Sith is the best of the prequel trilogy. Phantom Menace, it's a really easy snooze fest. Attack the Clones has some of the similar problems, but it did try to improve upon it. Revenge of the Sith, I think George Lucas understood. He's like, okay, I have to wrap up the prequel trilogy, and this was probably the biggest Star Wars film ever because it had to tackle the fact that it had to wrap up the prequel trilogy, had to be a satisfying conclusion to the Clone Wars show that he established, and realize, okay, I need to make sure everything's in canon to end the prequel trilogy, and I also need to make sure that I'm not breaking canon with what I established in the original trilogy, and make sure every single plot and thread and character is where they're supposed to be and doing what they're supposed to be doing to lead in perfectly into the events of New Hope. And so that makes perfect sense when you watch that. Obviously, there's like a 30-year time gap, or I think it's like an 18-year time gap or something. But there's a good portion between the end of Revenge of the Sith and before New Hope starts. So there is time that certain things could have changed and whatnot, but George Lucas does a good job making sure he sets the table properly so you could watch Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, and it makes chronological sense in that fashion. Obviously, a lot of people still prefer to go New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, then do Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. Some people, like me, prefer to just skip Phantom Menace because they've seen it a million times and it really doesn't add much to the Star Wars universe to begin with. But Revenge of the Sith makes that possible. It's a good film in that sense. So I do wish, though, we got a lot more backstory for General Grievous. Like, his character, obviously we get that with the Clone Wars show. But when you watch Revenge of the Sith for the first time and you get introduced to him, you're just like, the moment you get introduced to him and he's becoming interesting and you see his 2 arms become 4, you're like, wow, this is a cool character. And in the same film, they kill him off. Okay? It's I don't understand why George Lucas had this problem. They kill Darth Maul in Phantom Menace. Count Dooku dies at the beginning of this film. Like, at least he survived Attack the Clones. But he's not even really all that much in Attack the Clones. So I don't count his death in Revenge of the Sith as really good. And then General Grievous just gets killed. What is it with George Lucas trying to kill off every single main villain within the prequel trilogy. I don't understand why he did that. I don't get it. So it's just annoying. The Vader versus the Obi-Wan Kenobi duel in the final act on Mustafar, 100% excellent, well done. It's very well choreographed, and it just adds to that sadness that these two friends, they no longer believe in the same thing. Anakin slash Vader believes that he thinks he believes in what Obi-Wan wants, but how he's going about it is completely wrong. Also, if you watch the prequel trilogy, the villains of the prequel trilogy, Maul, Count Dooku, and General Grievous, they are the three stages of what Darth Vader would become. Anger and power is Maul. We get to see that in Darth Vader. Count Dooku, manipulation by Palpatine and desire from ultimate power and knowledge as well. We get to see that in Count Dooku into Anakin slash Vader. And General Grievous is the telltale sign that Anakin will, in some fashion, lose his duel to Obi-Wan, and he will be cybernetically altered to become Darth Vader. So that's really cool to see that as well. Overall, guys, I think Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, it's a really great film. If you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, make sure you guys do so. It is an excellent movie. You'll definitely enjoy it. It's not a perfect movie. There are some things in it I wish would have happened. And there are some kind of like cringy dialogue that unfortunately still exists that kind of just crept its way in from Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. But I still enjoy it. It's a good film. It's the best of the prequels. That's why I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching. Have an excellent day. I'll see you guys on the next video. And may the Force be with you always. Bye, guys. Oh, really quickly, I am planning on doing a review of New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Those will be coming out soon here on the channel. I just thought I should toss that in there. Alright, goodbye, for real.